asking me to go on a mission that can only be accomplished by children. There is a sinister force brainwashing us. And yes, he is my twin brother.
MaameYaa, Gia, Ryan, Jeff in Las Vegas, good morning.
Hey, how are you?
Hello.
I am doing great. Wow, I love this show. I mean, I've watched the first couple of episodes, and MaameYaa, let's begin with you. This show is so mind-bending and surreal. It just reminds me of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, because you never know what to expect. But a very Roald Dahl. Do you like the kids? Do you think that viewers will be challenged in this show?
Absolutely. And you're not the first person to make that Willy Wonka comparison. It is true. It's whimsical like that. I'm sorry, repeat your question one more time about the adults.
Well, the adults and kids, will the kids be challenged by it? Because the show is kind of complex. It's very surreal.
The kids will absolutely be challenged by it. I mean, the books alone, like the vocabulary, it challenges you. It's cool to learn a new vocab word, and the writing is just so witty. I think also for adults, I was reading, I was like, ooh, okay, SAT word. Let me put this in my everyday vernacular. No, it's challenging in a great way. It questions your own motives. It questions, what would you do if you were in this situation? What do you do? How are you looking at humanity, especially with what's going on in the world right now and how that's paralleled Stone Town? It's challenging in many ways to everyone.
And your character, Rhonda, I always had anxiety about not being prepared, being in middle school. So I would just have plenty of pencils with me when I took a test. And I made a tidy profit selling them to kids too. So that kind of brings some anxiety back when you were doing the whole pencil thing in the first episode. So I just wanted to brought back memories. And Ryan, Milligan is what to Mr. Benedict? Is he the Slugworth, to Mr.
Close. Yeah, he's the proctor. He's the guy who's going to get it done for you. He's there to sort of do Mr. Benedict's bidding, and also, he's there. He sort of inevitably takes on part of the role of protecting these children. Physically, but yeah, that there's a little bit of Slugworth there. There's a little bit of I think that it's an archetype that we've seen in a lot of different it's just the sort of in Peter Pan, it was the dog nanny, right? It was the dog who was also the nanny. I think Milligan's a little closer to that.
I'm thinking more Phineas Fogg and Passepartout.
Oh, very good. There you go.
You're a sidekick, but you just have I love the mystery around you that you serve Mr. Benedict. So. Yeah. And Gia, the emergency is a global crisis shrouded in mystery, which I think is such a cool little metaphor. But tell us about your character and what she does in the show.
Well, it's interesting because the show is very much about a group of outsiders. And within the group of outsiders, she's actually the outsider to the outsiders. She's the one who's still in society, still going about her everyday life, and I think is the most up close witness to the emergency and everything that's going on. So she actually has a really interesting scene where she comes in and she reports to the group that these are the specific things that are happening. And it was kind of strange because we all had a moment when that scene was going on where we went, whoa, isn't that bizarrely and eerily a representation of what we're seeing in the world right now? There was just so much around the media and around people didn't know what to believe or what not to believe, and it was just such a difficult time. So there was that really poignant moment in the show and for all of us who were on set.
And Ryan, working with Mystic, he plays this timid little guy in the series. But I looked at his Instagram last night. He does kickboxing. He speaks Chinese. He plays guitar and he plays keyboards and he sings. I mean, what an amazing kid.
Yeah, he's a wonder kid. He's like the kid, first of all, and not to mention funny. Okay, this kid will joke with you all day to the point where you're like, all right, enough with the jokes. Like, I'm done. Like, he is fantastic. I love, for all of the children, I fell in love with all of these children. People were like, people asked me, what's the most fun part about doing this project? Hanging out with kids and getting paid for it. Hello, I'll do that all day. It's like, I fell in love with every single one of these kids. I really did.
Well, I fell in love with MaameYaa because, I saw your TED Talk last night. I watched it, and you're such an inspiration. So it's a real thrill to meet you and to speak to you because, like I said, you're just an inspiration to me.
So much. Thank you.
Well, all of you, thank you so much for joining me today. What a wonderful series. I can't wait to watch the rest of it. I mean, it's unfair. They only give me a few episodes, but congratulations, and let's talk again soon.
Okay.
Thanks.